You have probably all seen a headset like this before, and many of you will probably ask themselves that one question: what can it actually do for my business? And I want to show you one particular use case. Every year in Berlin, there's the ITB, the world's largest tourism trade fair. 10,000 companies gather there to present their products. Now, the interesting and ironic thing is, almost none of them can actually bring their products, because their products are hotels, beaches, and, for example, flight experiences. And that is what we did for Lufthansa to solve this problem.
At this year's ITB, the world's leading travel trade show, visitors experienced Lufthansa like never before. They were inside a movie in 360 degrees.
Cheers!
With a head-mounted display, visitors became guests on a virtual journey.
Hallo!
Our goal? We wanted them to have fun while fully immersed in Lufthansa's products and travel destinations. With a controller in their hand, participants could see and use virtual objects. And they used them a lot. But visitors didn't just fly. In the middle of a busy day at the trade show, they relaxed at a San Francisco beach. When they came back from their virtual holiday, we gave visitors a printed San Francisco postcard. But we didn't stop there. Did you notice the flight attendant in the movie? Well, he was at the booth and personally handed visitors the postcards. They were quite surprised. Over 1,000 postcards were sent to friends and family in 30 countries worldwide. 3-spin, innovation applied.
The boldest question that we haven't asked yet: was virtual reality just a hype? And of course, we as a technology company who are using virtual reality do only have one answer for that, and that is, of course, yes. Yes, it was just a hype. And I see some surprised faces. If you have invested money in VR, don't worry. It'll be fine. So what you're seeing here is the Gartner hype cycle of emerging technologies. And what you have up here, that's the big hype. That's the big hype. So you have really high expectations, and you think that, and this is the special version I made for you, this technology is going to solve all of my problems. Of course, what's coming next is, and I call this the Valley of Tears. That's the moment when you realize it doesn't solve all your problems. And in fact, in that moment, you are so disappointed that you think it's going to solve none of your problems. Where do you think VR is right now? Does anyone know? Right. So that's where it is. That's where virtual reality is right now. So, yes, technically spoken, the hype is over. But now the really interesting thing here is what comes next after the Valley of Tears, and that is called the plateau of productivity. If you have a good use case, that's what happens at the plateau of productivity. And I want to give you one example for that. What we did for Lufthansa is, they now have 400 of these mobile headsets, 400 headsets worldwide, and they are using them at the gate to sell upgrades for premium economy. So you booked economy, I'm going to show you premium economy in VR, and 50%, up to 50% more are booking premium economy, 50% more using VR. So forget about the hype. Now it's time to make money with VR. That's the plateau of productivity. The next big technology that is on its way to the plateau is going to be way bigger than VR. It's augmented reality. And I just want to give you a quick demo of what it can do. So what it does is it recognizes the surface of this stand. And what I'm going to do is, I haven't had a cup of coffee this morning, so I'm going to put a cup of coffee on this stand. I can change the size. Now if I move this around, it roughly stays where it is. So it recognizes the surface, and I have this cup of coffee standing here on the surface. So that's what you can already do with your phone or your tablet. And now imagine, and that's the really interesting part, now imagine you wouldn't have to look through a tiny window and have to hold this in your hand, but instead, this was in your natural field of view. Imagine that. So you have your hands free, you can do stuff, and it's just in your natural field of view. Many people think that the world becomes more and more complicated because of technology. What I think is that technology actually becomes more and more human. And what's happening right now is we have a really big evolution in human-computer interaction, and we're moving from a very abstract way of using computers, like having a keyboard and you see something somewhere else appearing when you type, very abstract, and we are all used to that and we find it normal, but if you show this to someone who hasn't done it before, it's really complicated. And we improved, and now we have more touch devices, we have some gestures, and what's happening now is if you have VR and AR, you have artificial intelligence, you have speech recognition, you have actual gestures, you have holograms, you can place stuff in the real world, you can interact with it, and that's a much more natural way of interacting with computers. And in fact, this technology that you see here, the HoloLens, we are not talking about VR or AR anymore. We are talking about mixed reality, because HoloLens can do both. And I just want to show you what we can do with this. You remember the gate upgrade? So let's just assume we booked that, and that means now we can go somewhere on holiday. Gunther, he is operating a camera that will enable us to see what we see through the HoloLens. Okay, so I'm going to put that on. Okay, so that's what I see, and I just want to put us in a little holiday mood, maybe. Yeah, that's better. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to you guys. Everyone's like, oh. Now, you're sitting in the first row, you know what it's like. Okay, so I'm going to pick something from this menu. How about some palm trees? You see that? Yeah. So yeah, I've just put that parasol, and now I can go behind it and even hide behind it. Yeah. Now I don't know if you can see this. We have some reserved seats here. It's very German, is it? I think I have just the thing for that. So I'll put that. Let's. And now it's properly reserved the German way, right? Also, I just noticed that I don't really look like I am on holiday. So let's have that hat here. Can you see that? So I have a hat right here, and I can put that on. It's a bit of a funny hat, it's floating way above my head, but now if I'm walking around, it will follow me. And it's a levitating hat. I can see there are some people standing there. I have some more seats for you. Let's put some more seats here. Yeah, you can sit if you want. Seats here for you. Right, So that's what HoloLens can do. Thanks so much, Gunther. Thanks, Wanda. I know this is very playful what we just did, but now imagine someone in the tourism industry actually using this. And I have one video for you how we solved a problem with Lufthansa. And they wanted to show a plane at their booth at the ITB. So what we did is we solved it in mixed reality. It's really easy to use, and it's the perfect tool to present your products at the point of sale at the moment. And at some point, this technology is going to be much smaller, much cheaper. This is what the first mobile phone looked like in the 80s. And today, more people have access to mobile phones than to a toilet. And I think what it also proves is the mobile phone got really big by business use cases. And I think that will also be the case with mixed reality. So let's have a little look beyond marketing. And I'm really glad I have someone here who will do that for us. Welcome on stage, Michael Zawrel, Product Manager HoloLens from Microsoft Germany.
Let's jump right into the first scenario. Let's jump into manufacturing. And I'm going to show you a case. It's about planning and production. And it's actually one of my favorite use cases with the Microsoft HoloLens right now. And you might wonder, it's about stair lift. Well, yeah, maybe it's a niche product, but it's also a pretty big business. But it's also a very complex business to do and to build stair lifts. Because no stair lift is like each other, and no stairway is like each other. And in this case, ThyssenKrupp was experimenting with the technology around mixed reality in order to speed up the process of measuring stairs. And what they do is they put the HoloLens device on their head, they look through it, and they have this little gadget, it's called the multi-tool, and they look at it, they put it at the corner of the stair, and then they do a little air tap, and voila, the HoloLens device does the rest. You're now able to place a holographic version of the future stair lift into the real world, into the real stairways. That's a great way of marketing and a great way of selling, because the customer immediately recognizes how it would look like in their own home. But ThyssenKrupp didn't stop there either. While they're measuring it, they can send the data to an Azure cloud service. And the Azure cloud service automatically calculates the cost for production, the cost for materials, and the cost for installation. And instantly, at the same day, the sales rep can do a quote to the customer, and if the customer orders at the same day, production can start. Using the entire process, speeded up the process from end to end, from the first call until the installation of the product, 4 times. And that's a pretty big deal. Let's jump to the next scenario. I'm talking about healthcare. I think you're all familiar with this kind of weird pictures. You know what it is? That's CT or MRI scans. Doctors need to be trained in those type of pictures. Those are week-long courses in order to understand what those type of pictures really mean. And that's why the University of London was experimenting with this type of technology. What if we take those grainy black and white pictures and transform it into a holographic, colorful view of the inner organ? On the left side, you can see the original screen. And I don't know what you think, to me it looks like one of those monsters out of those alien movies. But in the middle, you can instantly recognize what it is. It's a human heart. The doctors and the surgeons at the university discovered, hey, we can prepare ourselves much, much faster for the upcoming surgery. So if we can learn quicker and if we can adapt it quicker, how about our medical students? So they put the devices onto the medical student's head and then see what happened. And guess what? They learned much and way faster. So the next scenario is architectural and design. If you want to build a building like this, you need to call an architect, and the architect needs to provide something like this. And Trimble, they are makers of software for architects. They come up with a solution where you can use your software design you do on a computer and transform it directly as a hologram, as a three-dimensional, full immersive experience of what the building will look like. And that's a great way to transform, to change the size of the building, to include stuff, to exclude stuff. And it's a great way also for the clients to firsthand experience what their building will look like in the future. So that's architectural and design. And last but not least, it's around field service, maintenance. I don't know if you know this, but 1 billion people are using elevators each and every day. 1 billion people. And again, ThyssenKrupp played around with this technology and came up with a great idea. What if we train our field service employees with this device? So they started to train it. They see a holographic version of the elevator itself. It has a video, it has a tutorial, a three-dimensional tutorial. It has a service manual. And they discovered, hey, using this type of technology, field service employees can prepare themselves way quicker than the old way of doing it, just reading a paper with some instruction on it. But sometimes he can't fix it. He can't find the error or the problem. Now, the field service employee can do a Skype call, a hands-free Skype call, calling the expert around the world, and not only seeing a video or the face of the expert itself sees through the camera what the field service employee is seeing. And that is way better for the expert to identify the actual problem, and the expert can now explain how to fix the problem. The expert can even make holographic annotations around the area, the physical area where you need to fix this problem. We found out that we can reduce the overall, the average maintenance or fixing time to fix an elevator down from 1 hour to roughly 20 minutes. But the place where we go next, where no elevator has gone before, is up there in space. There's the International Space Station flying around. Imagine being there, surrounded by all this technology. Woo. You need to know everything. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to the astronaut, Dr. Thomas Reiter.
Hello, guys. Hello. Hello. Now, from maintaining an elevator on Earth, let me take you for a few minutes up into space. Spacewalks, now, please don't get the wrong impression that during the day when we sit, for example, in the morning during breakfast, we decide, why not going out and having a little walk today? You have to do a lot of preparation inside the station. You have to prepare your own body, and you have to then do a lot of tasks within 6 hours. Now, usually we are using handwritten procedures to do that, and we need to memorize it. Now, just coming from this new technology that we just see, and I had the chance actually to experience that a few days ago in the office of 3Spin. Imagine that all these procedures could be projected in the helmet and help us to do the work outside. And I really could imagine that, for example, devices that provide mixed reality could be extremely helpful, not only on board the space station, but for future exploration.